Hi everyone. In this video, I am going to reference some uh, videos of people who are actually pretty popular either on social media or globally. They are popular because they are movie stars, and yet they are suffering from something which is common to all humans. And that thing is irrespective of how popular you are, how famous you are, how many people love you or like you for who you are, or it is also irrespective of how much you actually like and love yourself. Because the ones who are the two people who I'm going to reference here, they are movie stars and famous movie stars in Bollywood, in India, in the Hindi movie industry. And despite them being really famous, having enough access to money in their life because they established themselves in particular careers, and some of them have done so many movies and are loved by millions of followers. Despite that, they are currently going in these videos through something which is depression and loneliness. They might not have acknowledged it, a psychiatrist might not have diagnosed it, they may have acknowledged it, yet what is common to all humans, and that's why I'm making these videos, is that loneliness and depression is also a very, very common thing all of us are suffering from in our life, in our modern lives, and something we are suffering from because sometimes, irrespective of how popular you are or how unpopular you are, how many friends you have, how many friends you don't have, how many followers you have, how many followers you don't have, how many people love you, like you, would love to know you, we all humans have come on a earth with billions of other humans existing with us, yet we all feel this disconnection and loneliness and other problems, sometimes in our life, sometimes consistently in our life, sometimes repeatedly in our life, sometimes in our middle age we might start facing these symptoms when we didn't have any of these in the beginning stages of our life, all of which, while we are going through it, seems very painful. While we are experiencing it, might seem like a hard thing to go through, or confusing phase to go through, or a phase where we want to live in denial that we are going through this phase. But when the truth is, um, the loneliness and depression can't or isn't something that you can have control on unless you admit that you have it in your life. And then also, it's not in your power completely to change loneliness and depression. This is what people don't understand about loneliness and depression. Loneliness and depression is partly in your power, but it is also in the power of the connections you have had in your life. And power of the connections you have in your life is not completely dependent on the human itself. We have 50% power about the connection we build with, say, our father, mother, brother, sister, spouse, children, parents, grandparents, friends, co-workers. Our power is only always 50% in that relationship. The rest 50% is on the other person. And anytime there is a power imbalance in our relationship with anyone we know or many people we know, those are the people who go through extreme cases of depression, denial about depression, not understanding that they are depressed, not understanding when they are lonely and depressed, not understanding what is contributing to their loneliness and depression. And sometimes, even if you understand it, because I understand it, I have faced this for many years, that's why I see what I am seeing in these people. Other fans, if they look at my post, might get offended about it, might be in denial about it, those people themselves might be in denial about it. and might say you are not a psychiatrist, so how do you know they are depressed or lonely? But this is what I've been guided to talk about, and that's why I'm talking about it. And people can challenge it, people can be in denial about it, those people themselves about whom I'm posting this video, even though this is not personal just related to them. These are just demonstrative videos of what normal common people, ordinary people, poor people to rich people, famous people to non-famous people, married people to single people, divorced people, married people with children, married people without children, all of them face. Because apart from these three people who I'm going to present and link them and their clips, they are only short clips about them, but those short clips are enough for any good empathetic human being, as well as any psychiatrist, as well as someone who really cares about them. These are all necessary things people need to know. They themselves need to know, as well as other people around them need to know, to help them in the right way. But they can't get the right help if the people around them are in denial that these people are depressed or these people are lonely. The person themselves, if they don't understand that they are depressed and lonely, again they can't get help. And then whoever understands they are depressed and lonely, there are three sorts or four sorts of people who will understand that they are depressed and lonely. The sort who is the money making kind might want to make money out of them when they realize they are depressed and lonely. The sort who is the selfish and sabotaging kind, who wants to prey on others, can even go to these people and start preying on them and using their depression and loneliness against them. And I'm not talking personally about these people in these videos, but anyone who is going through similar life phase in their life, they attract those kind of people too, who look at someone else's depression and think that, okay, now this is a great person, I can manipulate for whatever purpose I need to manipulate them about. Then there are also, these are the negative kinds of people who will see your depression, acknowledge that you're depressed, understand that you are depressed or lonely or both, but they will be doing something negative, either actively trying to gain something from you, or actively by using the weakness that you have, or actively not only trying to gain something from you by using the weakness you have, but being extremely cruel about it and essentially abusing you or being toxic towards you just for their fun and games, because there are those kind of twisted human beings on earth as well currently. I have posted these videos on betrayal trauma, that's why in my other postings, because even though betrayal trauma related pain is very difficult to understand for some people, or some people who have hardly any betrayal in their life, they stay stuck thinking that they are being betrayed a lot, when actually they have only 1% betrayal in their life, and their life is like the rosiest life possible on earth currently given their circumstances, yet they don't see beyond it. Whereas there are other people who have gone through 100 times more problems and betrayals than them, who still smile, who still have the capacity to cheer others, who still have the capacity to, make friends with others, to be at their optimal peak despite the depression and loneliness and other emotional issues they are facing in their personal life. And these are the three types of people who are like that, who face a lot of challenges, who have actually continuously faced a lot of challenges. Some challenges that they express very openly when you see their videos or see their work, or when they have given interviews. Some people can understand that from the way they give the interviews. And then there are also challenges that none of these people have actually ever had the safe space to speak about, safe people to talk about, safe and understanding people to give them the advice that they seek on how to manage the emotions that they are feeling, help them navigate the life they are leading, where the pressure of the life they are leading also comes into play in their daily life and contributes to their depression and loneliness. Before I talk about them, let me talk about myself, because many people don't know about this, about my past. I have written many things about myself in my Facebook page, but on YouTube I haven't said much about myself. So, or even if I say, people may not understand where I'm coming from when I'm making these statements, but these are all coming from my personal life experience, from my own personal journey, as well as experience of other people I have witnessed in my life who have gone through these similar level of depression and social isolation in their life. Something that can actually happen more with the people who are really popular or considered to be popular or considered to be rich or considered to be richer than the norm of a group they grew up with, or something is there in them that makes them slightly more attractive to many individuals. But in that attractiveness to many individuals lies sometimes the path of their loneliness, depression, and isolation from multiple people, and which leads to them having this experience of depression that could have started 20 years back, but right now in the current time point of their life when I am viewing them through these videos, I can see that this depression is actually eating in their lives in the same way that will lead to a burnout, and has already started some burnout in their life, which they are not understanding right now. Or even if they understand it and have gone to a healer or a therapist for it, those people, if they have never experienced this or these kind of patients in their normal population group, sometimes a therapist also can't understand it. I also saw some other celebrities video where they said that going to a therapist didn't work for them. I'm not currently able to recall who was that celebrity, and that's why I can't post their video, but I'm sure there are many people who do this. They go to a therapist also for their depression and loneliness, and then after going to those therapists they have to come back and say that therapy didn't work. Why? It's not that therapy doesn't work, but with every kind of therapy, any kind of therapy, healing, medicine, comforting things and people in our life, you always have to have the right resonance and the right person to help balance out something that you are not able to balance out, help you figure out something that you are not able to figure out, help you navigate something that you are not able to navigate. This is what a therapist is supposed to do. They are supposed to guide you how to navigate your life. They are supposed to tell you or teach you how to navigate your life, or they are supposed to at least guide you towards a better therapist if they are not able to navigate you the right way. But there are also, if you are a rich and famous person, the kind of therapist you will go to, if you are a popular person also, and say, two of these actors are Bollywood actors. So now these Bollywood people live in a particular part of Mumbai, most of them. And in that part of Mumbai, what kind of people live there? Apart from these celebrities who may have come from average middle class upbringings, there are also many celebrities who come from ultra rich families. There are also non celebrities who live in those areas who also come from ultra rich family, who are not famous but they are extremely rich. So most of them stay in parts of Mumbai where extremely rich people stay, and not every extremely rich person has had the same life experience. There are extremely rich people who became rich because of unethical practices in their family, and those people are themselves very unethical. There are extremely rich people who had to work hard a lot to achieve their success. There are extremely rich people who had to work hard and chose deliberately to not do unethical practices as much as possible, or completely they want to avoid the unethical things of life. There are, so like that, there are mixed group of people, and of that there are also children of ultra rich people also who live in these societies. And when trouble strikes, which of these people will go to seek help? The first range of people who will go to seek help are those who are the takers, those who are always engaging in extremely unethical practices, and sometimes will go to a therapist to manipulate the therapist into making them seem like a good person. Those kind of people also go to therapists. Then there are those who are extremely bored out of richness in their life. They have nothing better to do, so they create illnesses. They are hypochondriacs essentially. Those people will also go because they have nothing to do. They have lots of money to spend. They don't effectively utilize their life's advantages in the right way, and that's why they just think it's a pretty fun thing to do, to go to a therapist because their friends are going to the therapist who might be really suffering through something. So some people just go just to compete with a friend, or some person might go just because they have extra money to spend and they want to just go to 10 different therapists and entertain themselves from whatever the therapist is saying. They do not themselves have any mental health illness, but they want to just have fun. So these kind of obnoxious people with obnoxious amount of money will initially go to those therapists who are extremely popular, and those therapists who work in these ultra rich places, right? So their first segment of people who will always be coming to them and giving them a lot of money are those who really have a lot of money to spend. And then there will be some who do not actually have a lot of money to spend. They look rich, they live in a rich area, but they may not really be that rich also as compared to the other percentage of people living in those areas. Some of them might have been people whose parents and grandparents might have been rich. That's why they are blessed enough to live in that rich area, but they themselves do not have that much money. They could have had spouses who were rich. They were themselves rich. Many of these actors and actresses, when they were maybe in their 20s and 30s, they had a lot of social relevance, popularity and everything. But in their 40s, 50s, 60s, they may not be as popular, as rich, as moneyed anymore, because whatever they earned, they used it up for their kids and other purposes. And that's why, and sometimes people get into drugs and other things. So whatever they spend their money on, now they are not that rich. So that's why they are suffering. But if the therapist assumes that everyone in this area is rich and starts treating everyone the same way, considering that they are rich, that's why I can milk money out of them, they let them come to me 10 times. Only the one who's going to them for entertainment, only the one who's ultra rich, only the one who has multiple unlimited resources only can keep going to them again and again. And which makes some of these therapists lazy therapists also. Lazy or too busy or too easily making money of the easier patient cases to actually give therapy to the more complex patient cases. And this is what happens in India, not just with therapists but doctors as well. And I have faced the doctor end of a thing, because with doctors I've seen, and I have some very famous doctors in my family, in not in Mumbai but in some other city. And those people, despite being famous and popular and very well sought out doctors, they are crappy doctors, because when a really complex patient comes to them, they are not able to diagnose a complex patient, because they can make money easily from the easiest patient, toughest patient, the patient with the most money who comes to them again and again. If they make money from those easy patients, or the patient who comes again and again to get treatment from them, they get lazy enough to not understand that some patients who have money crunches, some patients who have a difficult life, have such a difficult life that just going to a doctor itself is not possible for them for many reasons. They could have a crazy person in their family who's preventing them from going to the doctor. They could have 10, because of the crazy person in their family, they could have 10 different layers of problems in their life. Without solving those layers, they can't even have access to finances to go to a doctor. They have suffering so much from burdens of taking care of other people, that again, if they are just busy taking care of other people, again they don't have the time to go and seek a therapist. Or if they do end up actually, out of all the problems they have in their life, all the people who are really actually clinically crazy but they have not been diagnosed as crazy, and because they are clinically crazy but not diagnosed as crazy, they don't get the right treatments also, which means that they are surrounded by people who are not getting treated. And because they are not getting treated, they continue their madness in their lives. Because they continue their madness in their lives, the people living with them are constantly stressed, or people who are dependent on them, or they pretend that they have people dependent on them when they are actually the physical and mental and emotionally dependent people. And this is one of the non-Indian person's video. that about his case I will talk a little later, or maybe I'll make a second video about this case, where his wife is not clinically diagnosed as mentally ill, and if his life continues in a certain path, he, despite being the more saner spouse in the relationship, more balanced and balancing spouse in the relationship, he will eventually have such a meltdown that he will get categorized as being ill, when all he is suffering from is he has a spouse that he needs to get away from, or life that he needs to sort out in the right way, otherwise he will get into a mental breakdown. So what happens is, since I introduced him, let me just talk about him now. He has the couple of videos that I saw of him recently, and even in the past I've seen some videos of him. This guy is very people pleasing kind. He really loves his wife. He's always praising his wife. In fact, all his videos popularity comes from all these people who are his followers, their followers, thinking that they have such a beautiful married life, because here's a unusual guy who is a stay-at-home dad. I don't know whether he works or has any income coming to him. Possibly his income could be coming from his YouTube videos, but from what I've seen in their videos, he seems to be the stay-at-home dad, and the wife is the one who is working outside the home. Now they have 3 kids, and much before the time that they had 3 kids, when they had only 2 kids, at that time only the cracks of their relationship was showing up, where what was showing up, according to how I analyzed their whole issues, was that every time, like when she was pregnant with their 3rd child, and she was having hormonal issues and anger issues, or whatever issues that was coming up within the relationship, because they don't address their relationship problem zones effectively or in the right manner, what was happening was, if she was angry or upset, he is taking the time to calm her down. He's taking the time to help show her emotional support. He is taking the time to be engaged with her and trying to calm her down, because he knows that, if his wife is happy, his wife is caretaken, then he feels nice about it also. So this is the positive side of a person who is a people pleaser and a one who really loves his spouse. Anyone, be it a man or a woman, and these things actually women do a lot more in their relationships, usually with their spouses. Traditionally, this is what women have been doing with their spouses. The earning spouses who earns money, they always, if the spouse is venting about work related issues, in a traditional marriage, this is what a wife who is a stay-at-home wife and a mom would be doing with their husband, allaying the fears of the husband, calming the husband, something like that. The way this guy does with his wife, a woman would be doing with her husband. This was the traditional setup. But that traditional setup of the world has been breaking down for a long time. So this traditional kind of marriage doesn't exist anymore in many modern marriages anymore, where it is not possible that only the wife should earn or only the husband should earn. In many marriages, it is not possible anymore. So most marriages globally right now have both spouses earning. Some marriages have one spouse earning a lot more than the other, and some marriages still do have the traditional setup where usually the husband is the one who's earning more money. But there is also the flipped script of those marriages where the wife is earning the more money and or the only money in the family, and the husband is a stay-at-home dad, right? So him flipping the script is a good thing. That's why there are so many followers for this guy online, and they appreciate and admire that he is showing appreciation to his wife, he is showing support to his wife, he is showing care to his wife when she is in emotional hormonal rages, which every woman wants, and every woman would love to have a husband like this who will calm them down, help them, support them when they are going through emotional challenges in life, right? But here what is happening is, while Silent is doing this to his wife Amanda, I am mentioning their name since I'm putting their video, right? So while he is calming his wife down many a times, I'm yet to see a video where I have seen, and not just calming his wife, he has also been one of those romantic husbands who has created home dates for his wife where she gets to relax and have a bubble bath. He also took care of her after the baby was born and helping her in the shower. So he has been a very good husband. But contrary to him being a good husband, Even though sometimes I have seen the wife occasionally spend some money on the husband and give him expensive gifts or gifts that he would appreciate, overall she's, in my opinion, not a great spouse, because she doesn't balance him out. In fact, she is also a person who seems like covertly abusive towards him, because there is a Father's Day video in which I have seen that when he, for Father's Day, wanted to build a house in their backyard, those children's houses that can be built of plastic, he was taking pains early in the morning to build a children's small doll house like thing, like which will be like possibly at the same human height. So it's only a 6 feet high house or 5 feet house. So that small dollhouse like thing that he was building for his sons, instead of his wife saw him build it, and it was Father's Day. What gift did she give him for Father's Day? And he told her that he's building this because he wants to play with his sons when they wake up. He wants to play with them in this house. But in a few hours, or whatever time limit that the whole video was made, we see that she tells him, I want you to have a great Father's Day, so I have I've sent the kids over for babysitting to their grandparents or someone else's house, someone they knew. She has sent the kids away to their place. Now, can that be a great Father's Day gift ever for any father who loves spending time with their kids and who wants to actually spend time with their kids on Father's Day? He already made that explicit wish that he is building this house so that he can spend Father's Day with his kids. And when they wake up, when the house is done, so that they can play in the house, or he sees his kids play in the house, right? That is what his aspiration is. And he's already mentioned that subtly to his wife. He may not have said XYZ because he's not a machine, right? Sometimes you are not a machine. You're not going to say every single emotion or 10 different things that you are aspiring towards when you're building something for someone or when you want to do something with someone. But anyone who knows you personally and has lived life with you for a few years, if they are intelligent enough, and Amanda is very intelligent, they already pick up that what you need emotionally from the issue. You don't need to tell what you need from the issue. And most humans are like that. Intuitively, many humans actually pick up what the other person needs, because that is how human nature is. You will have some logical words being spoken by someone telling you what they need from you, and there will be some intuition involved which tells you intuitively what this other person needs from this experience. But Amanda, despite being clever, despite being intuitively tuned in to her husband also, she deliberately self-sabotaged his happiness by sending the kids away. Now, this I can observe. Many other people who will watch this video will observe of that Father's Day video. You can search the video in their website if you want. And you will see most people who are perceptive will know that she did it deliberately. But Silent himself didn't acknowledge that she did it deliberately, or even if he acknowledged it, it is very subconscious in his belief at that time. So he appreciated whatever gift she gave him. But think about it. If your wife does this to you and you wanted to spend time with your kids, if you are the kind who asserts himself and who's not a people pleaser, you would have actually given a strong tongue lashing, or you should be upset with your wife for manipulating you this way. Because even if you didn't explicitly say that I want to spend time in the afternoon with my kids, it's a given. On Father's Day, if you're a caring father, you want to spend time with your kids. There are many fathers who are not like Silent, who don't like spending time with their kids, who are not even a stay-at-home mom or a dad, who get tired taking care of kids the whole 1 month, 2 month, or a whole year of taking care of kids. There are many men who resent taking care of their kids. Now, for that man, if Amanda is married to that kind of a man, and then she arranges a babysitting, that's a gift for that man who wants a break, who has told his wife that I'm really tired, or who is showing signs of being tired, or who is explicitly overwhelmed with childcare all the time. At that time, if you give a gift like this where the children are taken for a babysitting by the grandparents or some family friends, that is a gift. But on a Father's Day, no father would actually. Can you be a father without your children? So on a Father's Day, again, yet it is still an inappropriate gift on a Father's Day if you isolate your kids away from their father, especially when their father is a kind father, loving father, everything that meets the perfect father's role. He's not even an imperfect father. He's not the father who scolds his kids all the time. He's not an abusive father physically or verbally. He is also a great father. He is also a father who really cares about spending time with his kids. So for such a father, that is the absolute horrible gift someone could give, right? But even if 10 people realize this, if Amanda deliberately did this, and Silent also realizes that Amanda is deliberately doing it, is it fair for Silent to stay and not speak up about this with his wife? And then if he realizes this and speaks to her about about this issue, that on Father's Day you shouldn't have given them for babysitting, you should have sent them some other day. If you want to give that as a gift to me, as a resting thing, you could do it on Women's Day. You could do it on any other weekend, right? On Father's Day he wanted to spend time with his kids. That is what he should have got as a gift, and it wasn't a very difficult gift for her to give. But she deliberately sabotaged the whole Father's Day for him, because some people who seek drama, who have some mental health, social health illnesses, diagnosed or undiagnosed, they have this antisocial personality trait. Sometimes they have narcissistic trait. Sometimes they are simply only thinking about themselves. Amanda might want a day away from the kids, and Amanda might be feeling jealous about Silent spending so much time with the kids. So on Father's Day she doesn't want him to spend time with the kids. So that is all these kinds of reasons are why she's doing this with her husband, right? Now, is it a fair thing to do if some wife does this to the husband, or a husband does this to a wife? If a husband does this on Mother's Day, that he sends away the kids and he wants to have sex with his wife, will it be considered as abuse or manipulation or narcissism or gaslighting? Or will it be considered, should it be appreciated as a gift? If the mother is not tired, if the mother, even if she's tired on Mother's Day, if her kids are only not there with her, what value is a Mother's Day to that mother? Right? Especially if that mother values being a mother, that mother loves being a mother. On particular Mother's Day, if she doesn't get to spend time with her kid, then it is cruelty only, right? It's inhumane and cruelty if you do this to someone else. So if whatever gender it is, sometimes people have these kind of people in their family. And what is explicitly showing up in Silent and Amanda's relationship in the videos they make, where Silent is getting excluded or manipulated into certain things, and he is starting to have a meltdown inside. So which is what the recent videos are. In the recent video, in one of the videos, Amanda promised him that she will clean the house with him, and here he is busy washing the dishes. But what has Amanda done? She's gone and worn a hot sexy dress, and she's like, I want to go outside, and I said I'll help you, but I don't want to help you. Like that she's doing. So will a husband who is a stay-at-home, if the genders were also flipped, if it was a wife who is stay-at-home wife and they have hundreds of chores to complete inside the house, and your spouse has promised they'll help, but then they are not helping, or they are deliberately now creating scenarios where they want to go out instead of sit and fix the problem that is present inside the house. If they are energetically drained to do it, it is understandable. But then you have to spend money. And you have to understand that it doesn't matter if you are the rich ultra multi-millionaire or a average working average businesswoman, or a average worker from an office where you have a median income of the country in which you live. Whatever is your salary, even if you have lower than median income salary, if you are tired, you need to seek help. Now if you based on the means you have, you get the help. If the means you have, if you have finances that can hire someone to come 1 hour to clean your home, why aren't you hiring that money to clean your home? You want entertainment, fine, but before entertainment, do you have to also ensure that your spouse is also relaxed? But she's not ensuring that, even though she might be the major breadwinner, or if they are earning money now from their YouTube videos, whatever money they are earning now, can they or should they allocate it sometimes for home care, for home caretaking, for housekeeping when they are getting tired? No one is, it is okay if you're feeling tired, and instead of focusing on cleaning up your whole messy house, you want to go out and have fun. But before you can go out and have fun, if you have 3 kids to look after, if you have also a responsibility of a spouse whose emotional needs need to be met, but if you're not ready to see where the spouse is struggling, where the spouse needs help, where the spouse also needs care and caretaking, if she doesn't bring that same caretaking to her spouse, it is an unbalanced relationship. And the symptoms of the unbalanced relationship is showing up when silent goes outside. In another video, and also in this particular video also, he being a people pleaser and he loving his wife told her very beautifully that you are being like a peacock and it's raining outside, meaning it's raining outside, don't go outside right now, how can you go outside in the rain? And if you're hungry, he said that you're hungry and that's why you want to go outside, let's order something and relax at home. Why is he saying that? Because he realizes the importance of the clean home that they need for taking. Because if their house is really dirty, is it a safe house for a small baby to live in? It will be a very unsafe place for an unhygienic place for a baby to live in if they have messy dishes all around, or a whole complete set of rooms with mess all around. It's dangerous for a baby, it's dangerous for the other young kids, it's unhealthy too. Also mentally it is very distracting for everyone living in that house to live in that mess, right? So they need to allocate the right resources to get someone to help them when they are not able to help themselves. But if they don't address that as an issue, and then he also needs actually emotional care and caretaking, but here he's constantly babysitting his wife as well. So he is slowly, if you look at his smile, you will see that his smile is getting more and more inauthentic. And even though he's saying the nice, kind, softer words to her, internally his stress levels are increasing. And this stress level, if he doesn't get calmed down, like how before the baby was born, he was calming Amanda, helping her relieve her stress. Now it is her turn also when she's all in, and she was looking very vibrant in that dress she wore. So she has the energy to help. But only problem with antisocial personalities or narcissistic personalities is that sometimes the narcissistic personality simply doesn't want to help the partner. They want to just keep getting attention and love and care from their partner. They don't give it back. And the person who is antisocial, they not only won't give it back, they will add to the trouble, which is what she did. She added to the trouble. Her husband and her both admitted in that video that she had taken out other things for cleaning and stuff. So she added, like say they had like 10 dishes to do, or 1-2 hours of kitchen cleaning to be done. Instead of helping him in the kitchen cleaning of 1-2 hours, she went and added to more mess, and found other things to be cleaned and took them all out. Now they have actually 10-20 hours of cleaning to do, so which adds to silent stress. Like even if Amanda doesn't clean it, now Silent will have to eventually clean it, or find the resources to clean it if Amanda doesn't pay the money to clean it. And apart from that, he's also exhausted. But even though he's exhausted, he's never getting the care or love or support or calming down or understanding that he also needs to balance out the relationship, which if it continues, one day he's a nice, kind, soft speaking guy right now, but one day after 10 years or 10 months of constantly being harassed, and it's harassment, actually it's abuse and harassment, if you have a spouse or a family who adds to your trouble instead of detracting from your trouble. The whole point of coexisting as a family is you're meant to detract from each other's troubles. And when both of you are at an energetic low, if you have checked some of Brené Brown's videos on this, who is a psychology professor and who teaches and does research work on these topics, if you see her videos, she talks about how she and her husband actively discuss that when their energy is down, who has to pull in a little bit more extra effort. And if both their energies are down, that is the time to realize what can be cut out from their life that will not keep them constantly in the down energy, or what additional help can they now bring into their life. If earlier, when you are a financially struggling, lower income person, at that time maybe you cannot afford outside help to do some child caretaking. But when you are earning enough at that time, or earning more than enough at that time, if you are energetically drained and say your kid needs to go to soccer practice and someone has to take them, but both of you are tired, or if your kid has grown enough and if you have taught them how to drive, maybe the kid needs to drive themselves to soccer practice themselves if they are over 16 years of age. In US, over 16-year-old people, if they have a license, they can drive in many US cities, right? So whatever is the city limit, you give the a little bit independence to your kid also to chip in into the housework or into something that a kid can minorly help with. Or if you have enough income, you hire someone to take them driving for 1 hour, right? You can do that also. So there are always some alternatives that have to come up when both people are getting drained, both people need help, both people need support, and you have to also find out some social circle possibly with whom you can sit and hang around with and chill occasionally in between of your normal life, right? This is what sane, balanced, unlonely and aligned relationships work towards. But anytime a relationship is not like that and you have spouses, in case of Silent and Amanda, Amanda is a hyperactive spouse, and now Silent also, even Silent is also slowly getting hyperactive, even though in the initial videos, if you look at it, look, Silent was not that hyperactive, or his level of hyperactivity is a normal humans emotions of highs, normal humans highs and lows. But when you stay around with people who do not actively balance you out, that same normal highs and lows of someone will then end up going into extreme highs like Silent is now experiencing, where he is showing the false light of happiness when he's internally not happy, and his soul is very anxious. And in his actions, someone in one of his videos is commenting that someone observed him put some stuff in his car and asked him, are you okay? Why? Because he might have shown some hyperactivity at that moment, which shows that his life stress is acting upon him, but he doesn't have the right avenue to express it. So when he is moving stuff, the way he is moving stuff shows that there is some anxiety or stress going on in his life, which if he still continues to refuse addressing it, if he doesn't admit to himself that something is going wrong in his life, if he doesn't admit to others that something is going wrong in his life, if he can't then go and take the steps to get help for it, and if he can't then go and get the steps to get help for it, he will eventually have a very bad meltdown then, right? And even if he does get help, say, after getting help also his problem is not getting resolved, because maybe then his problem is that he just doesn't have the right relationship in his life. That also he has to eventually acknowledge. He has like a 5-10 step process system he has to go through to figure out whether this can be balanced with Amanda, how to balance it with Amanda, can Amanda come to therapy with him to balance it, can they both go to therapy to figure out how to help each other. They have a long set of steps they have to take step by step to figure out how to manage each other's stress, how to manage being new parents to now having 3 kids, because it's again a new parenting. Every time you have one additional kid, it's new parenting. People don't realize it, but parenting a 1-child family is different from a 2-child family, is very different from a 3-child family. And then parenting is not just hard. If you have one or the other spouse or both of the spouses highly stressed out from different factors, then that is another different issue that has now cropped up in the relationship. So that is their relationship. And the other 2 actors who are now depressed and sad and lonely and in the beginning stages of depression, sadness and loneliness, they have spouses also who don't actually seem as involved emotionally with them, who do not, and if not spouses, they have other family also who are not as deeply involved in asking these 2 people how you're doing, what do you need, how can we help you. Or they are also, their soul is also searching for quality relationships that they're not able to find in whoever asks them also what do you need. Because sometimes some people, and this is my problem, I have sometimes people who ask me what do you need, but if I start telling them what I need, first of all they need to have context about what I'm going through. I'm going through problems similar to Silent, and I'm not a person like Silent at all. So I don't stay silent about my problems. I actually openly express to people in my life that this is a problem, you're doing this is not the right thing you're doing. But because I have people like Amanda in my life, that's why I understand Silent's problem the best. I have people like Amanda in my life who will add to my troubles deliberately. They know if I tell them I have XYZ problem, they will ensure XYZ times 3 will crop up in my life because of their efforts. They will come and add to more problems, or they'll pretend that I have no problem to outsiders so that outsiders think I am lying. This is also another problem. If silent, now that their videos are coming online, everyone can see, whoever is smart enough and has experienced abuse can see that abuse is happening here. But those who have no context for abuse, they are still in the comment section. You will see there are many people who have no context of abuse and they are praising silent for being such a good husband, this that. But all that is false, because that praise is not going to help silent in managing his stress. Their appreciation for him being a good husband is not going to help, because Amanda doesn't appreciate him for the good husband he is. She appreciates him at the superficial narcissistic appreciation from audience level, but she doesn't appreciate it at the deeper soul level that is needed for two partners to coexist and help each other out in a relationship of marriage plus marriage and parenthood. That is where he's stuck. Likewise, these two also have marriages. One of them has a marriage where they have kids. Another actor doesn't have any kids in their marriage, but maybe she wants to have kid. Her husband may not want to have kid. That could be an issue. Maybe their relationship is not at such a level that they should have kids. Maybe there's something going on in their relationship that she knows is going wrong, but outside she can't yet express what is wrong in that relationship. Or maybe whatever, but something is going on. I'm just saying these are all the scenarios that will play in the life of a woman who doesn't have kid, who has given a lot to her career. And again, I understand her, because I am like her in that way as well, that for 30-40 years I gave everything to my career. I gave whatever I could to my relationships, but because I don't give in traditional way to a relationship, it is sometimes not enough for that relationship to sustain, and that's why many of my relationships have failed in the past. And then thirdly, even though I wanted kids, I was always married to immature people who didn't understand what it means to become a parent, or what responsibilities you should have as a responsible qualities you should have in order for me to really be comfortable in thinking they will be supportive life partners. So every time they were unsupportive as life partners and I called them out on it, they didn't like that, because people don't also appreciate women who are too authentic. So that is another problem with this actress, because she's been authentic, and sometimes authenticity is a problem in relationships where people don't appreciate authenticity from their partners, families, friends, etc. So my loneliness comes from that. When I'm authentic, people don't want to appreciate that authenticity, and after being authentic, I have people like Amanda who will self-sabotage a relationship or deliberately add to the harm when I express authentically what is going wrong. And then there are people who are clueless like silent, who don't understand the deeper repercussions of when you don't authentically discuss when problem zones are happening. And then there is this other actor who's a very responsible actor in terms of how he takes care of his health, physical fitness, body, how he manages his work. He's very responsible for himself, but has he been responsible enough for his family? That is something I think he has to question, and that is what his soul is guiding him to question currently, that have you been responsible enough for your family? If you have been responsible enough for your family, then also why are you feeling something inside you? Because there's something that is happening. He's going through a soul awakening related loneliness and depression related things happening. Like he has to do some deeper soul searching that he has not done in his life. So every one of these people, they are lonely, they are anxious, they are sad, they are depressed, they are questioning something which they are acknowledging openly, questioning something that they are not acknowledging, but it is in the unsaid words and unsaid choices and actions of theirs. But despite all that, if they don't take the time to actually question it in the right way or examine it the right way, they will never go to the right answer that is needed for them to have a better quality life. And after they have questioned themselves the right way, they have to also question the actions and choices of people around them. You can't simply question your choices and then think I'm doing the perfect thing means I'll have the perfect life. No, life doesn't work that way. As I said in the beginning of this video, your life is only 50% about in any particular interaction. If I'm interacting with a spouse, my interaction with the spouse is 50% about me, 50% about that spouse. So if I am at a particular level of life where I need a particular level of life partner and my life partner is not at that same level, I will always have a communication mismatch with them, and it will lead to internal soul searching, soul trouble, anxiety like silent, or soul searching like this other actor, or authenticity that is coming up in this actress, but it still needs more than what they have done so far. One is not acknowledged, so he has a lot of work to do. The other is beginning to acknowledge, but yet he doesn't understand why he's beginning to acknowledge it. And one who acknowledges that there are days when she's sad, depressed, lonely, everything, but after acknowledging it, that is also a great path and threshold. She has crossed the first threshold, understanding that something is missing in her life, and that there are going to be days when she will not be perfect. Even though perfectionism is desired by a woman, from a woman, by many people, even though perfectionism is also something many women or highly successful people want to strive towards, but sometimes you have to be imperfect as well. That is also required, because if you aren't imperfect, in that imperfection you will that is where you actually realize what needs to be worked on. That is where also it is that imperfection that most people consider imperfection is also actually not an imperfection. Because if you're sad, you're supposed to cry. If you're sad, if you show happiness like silent is showing, that is when double trouble, triple trouble will manifest in his life. If you're sad and you're acknowledging it like Vidya Balan is doing, then double trouble won't arise. You have acknowledged at least that you are sad, but the next step you have to go from there is to acknowledge, why are you sad? What are the things that are making you sad? You have to self-reflect. If you are sad and you've not acknowledged it, but there's something in your soul that is showing to you that something is going wrong in your life, or something is misaligned from your soul path, which is what Akshay Kumar is going through. He knows he is misaligned from his soul path, but he doesn't know it consciously yet. But in order to awaken his consciousness about it, these interviews have been placed in his life, where he's slowly giving bits and pieces of information. And if he himself looks at his own interviews, one day slowly he will awaken. These are all the breadcrumbs of the steps he has to take to awaken to what he needs to do next in his life, professionally, personally, socially, in every level. Because a fully lived high quality life is not simply about physical health. Akshay Kumar has taken very good care of his physical health. It is not simply about financial health. He has also taken good care of his financial health of his family. It is more than the physical and financial health. And because he has the capacity to lead a much more fuller life than simply a life where most of the human beings are still struggling with their physical and financial health, if he has crossed that barrier, he has to also, and physical health only, right? He has not looked into his emotional health, mental health, social health. So these are the things he has to look into. So I have just barely scratched at what I saw about these people, because I can go on and on about what I see in others, but there are people like Akshay Kumar, not just Akshay Kumar who's rich and famous, but non-rich and not famous people also go through similar phases like Akshay Kumar. And when you're in your 40s, 50s going through this, you have to realize why you're going through this, or you have to work with someone like a life coach or a psychiatrist or a therapist, but you have to also go to the right person. You can't simply go to someone who has no context about the level of stress you're going through, who has zero context about the personality traits of the people you are associated with, who have zero understanding also about where, say, you have to awaken to a different way of living. If you are still going to the people who are not awakened to that way of living, you will not get the right therapy. That other actor, I'm forgetting which actor it was, but whichever actor it was, they are also slowly awakening like Akshay Kumar. And because they awakened and they were unhappy, they like Vidya Balan, they went to a therapist, but that therapist was not awakened like this person. So if you don't go to a awakened therapist, you are awakening to, say, you are awakening to the fact that despite the riches, money isn't enough. But your therapist only thinks like, oh, you have money, that is great, you have the best life, then why are you worrying? Or they are like, you are just overthinking it. Because those kind of therapists also exist. They think if you have money, you have everything. They are not awakened to the fact that after money there is also other things to awaken to. or someone else might think you are happily married, why are you unhappy? But that's not how happiness, unhappiness, depression, loneliness works. So if you are not gone to the right therapist with the right context about the life issues that you're going through, or you're not having the right coach who has the right context about what's going on in your life, or where you need to be guided next towards, because life coach will guide you next towards something, right? Therapist also sometimes will guide you at least to acknowledge what is going on currently in your life, or lead you towards opening up the doors of what you want to explore next in your life. So these kind of things, you have to understand that just going to a therapist doesn't mean that you will get the right help. You might have to try 10 different therapists, or before you can reach the right one. You might have to go to 2-3 different life coaches before you find the right one. You might have to also go through your own internal barriers, like silent. If he first doesn't cross the barrier of understanding that he is getting abused, and that the kind of abuse he's going through is a difficult abuse for him to acknowledge, for whatever reasons related to his past that makes it difficult for him to acknowledge the abuse, he cannot even go to a therapist, because he doesn't even realize first within himself that he's getting abused. But the longer he and Amanda don't realize that they're enabling abusive life conditions in their life, who will suffer the most in their life? Their kids are going to suffer the most. And this I realized because I have had parents like Amanda who didn't care about how immature they are, how narcissistic they are, how antisocial personality they are. And as a result, I have suffered. Even now, as a 40-year-old, I suffer from that kind of parenting blocks in my life, where people trust the narrative of my parent who is mentally and socially ill, not diagnosed with mental and social illness. But if a right qualified therapist would examine every bit of his life choice, they will see the mental and social illness he suffers from. And I have known that my dad suffers from part of these illnesses for 10-20 years of my life, or even 30 years. As a 30-year-old, like when I was a 10-year-old child, I knew certain aspects and understood certain aspects, like this is where my dad can never help me, so I had to help myself. As a 20-year-old, I know this is where, 20 to 30-year-old, I know these are the places where my dad will never respond in a normal parental ways. So I navigated my life in a way where I know I can lead life without having my dad's involvement. But as a 40-year-old, when I came back to India and I needed some place where he still had a lot of potential to help me navigate certain things in my life, but because he's an antisocial personality, instead of using what advantages he could have used, that was a place where he could have karmically done something different than what he has done for so many years of his life. He could have grown up, elevated, matured a bit in his life, even in his 70s. But he continued to live in the same immature way that Amanda is living when she's in her 30s now. I am assuming she's a 30s woman. She seems like a woman near my age, so she's either in her 30s or 40s. And whatever her age is, and considering the age of her kids, I'm assuming she's in her 30s. If she continues the same pattern even until her 70s, her kids by 70s will have a heart attack and die, or will go into addictions, or will have a meltdown like Silent someday, or will have multiple illnesses, simply because the main root cause of their problem was never acknowledged by any of them, including the people who are the root cause of their problem. And those children, if Silent never acknowledges that abuse is going on, those children will continue to get abused. If Silent never takes the steps to get out of the abuse for himself and his kids will never have the doorway of a life free of abuse, or at least a chance of a life free of abuse. Because after you get away from one abusive person, it is not necessary that your life stops having abusers in your life. After one abuser, if you had a real high level abuser, to detox from that high level of abuse, sometimes you will again have another life partner or other people who will abuse you to a minor level. Slowly you detox away from a high level abuse to micro level abuse to no abuse. This is because that is the most balanced way to get out of abuse, and universe plays only such a way our life that it surrounds abusive life. People who have had abusers in their life they will observe has had these patterns. I'll talk about my abuse and this pattern that I'm talking about in this end of this video in a next video, because it's another complex topic. But Basically, you have to acknowledge you have been abused, you have to acknowledge you're lonely because of certain choices you made, and also because of certain choices other people are making. And if the other people are making choices that are hurtful to you and are not ready to meet you in that 50% relationship level that is needed to make a relationship work, it is time to also start reconsidering who are you surrounded by in your life. Should you be surrounded by these people? Should you take the effort to make new friends? Should you take the effort to get a divorce? Should you take the effort to go to therapy with your spouse if you're not ready for a divorce? Should you discuss this openly with your spouse? After discussing it openly and authentically with your spouse, are you ready to take the consequences of what you have discussed openly with your spouse? After those consequences have unfolded, are you ready and brave enough to be authentic to yourself, or do you want to betray yourself? Because betrayal trauma that all these three are going through is also betrayal that you do to yourself and a betrayal that another person is doing to you. Both are involved in our betrayal trauma. I'll talk about betrayal trauma in my next video related to how we contribute to our betrayal trauma. So if you have any questions on what I've posted in this video, please drop a comment, and I hope it was informative. And I will clarify again, I'm not a therapist. I'm telling all this based on my own life journey and from what I observe about these people. What I want people to recognize and get a message from this video is how to recognize patterns of abuse, loneliness, depression in yourself. And if you are recognizing yourself within these people and are finally acknowledging that abuse, depression, loneliness is going on in your life, what should you do next? The next thing that you should possibly do is, if you are in the stage of realizing something is wrong, start speaking with yourself, have communion with yourself, start writing on a journal about your life and life experiences. But if you're going through covert abuse like silent, you can't do that. You have to actually go to a doctor or a therapist. And because if you have a narcissistic personality in your life or antisocial personality in your life and you write on a diary, they will use what you have written in a diary against you to either torture you or use, and they are smarter. Amanda is very much smarter than Silent, so she will use, if Silent writes I am sad, Amanda will use I am sad against Silent, and which she does. He doesn't even acknowledge that he is sad, but every time Silent is sad or depressed or wanting and needing care, she goes and tries to manipulate the whole situation to draw the attention to herself so that she gets the care instead, which is called covert narcissistic abuse and gaslighting. Many of her videos she has done this. So it's up to you how you admire. You can continue admiring Silent, but Silent's all these efforts of being a good husband can truly be the best thing for him and a best life path for him when he is with a partner who actually really truly appreciates all that he does for his partner and his kids, and when he actually starts thinking at the greatest good of his family. So when you go through abuse, you have to also start thinking of greatest good for many people involved, especially if you have a large family. You can't simply think about what one person in that whole relationship will think, or what, and which these people have done. So far, Silent has done everything based on what Amanda needs. He's not done based on what he needs. He's not done things based on what his children also need. They need a sane parent, a parent who doesn't isolate, a parent who doesn't manipulate. They need those kind of parenting also. And right now, as a 10-year-old, 5-year-old child, they'll not understand that the fucked upness of their life. But when they are 20, 30, the messed upness of their life will begin to spill over every element of their life in their 30s, 40s, 50s. And it has spilled over in my life, so I understand. And as a 10-year-old, I thought I had the best childhood. As a 18, 19-year-old also, I thought I didn't have that bad a childhood. But as a 40-year-old, 30-year-old, I finally understood how crappy my life was, and not just crappy. As a 40-year-old now, I'm understanding how toxic my life was. And that kind of covert abuse is like that. The toxicity of covert abuse doesn't hit you only until you are in your 10, 20, 30 years also after you have been abused. It depends like how much toxicity was there. If a lot of toxicity was there, Silent is beginning to understand the toxicity of his abuse. But even though he's begun to understand it, if he acknowledges it, his partner will not accept it. which is what narcissistic people do. They do not accept any flaws in their own structure and being and in their own dynamics with another human being, which leads to everyone else around them having the most miserable life, most horrible life possible and imaginable. And everyone keeps compensating for the madness of one person, but madness of one person leads to if you compensate for the madness of the person who is unfairness, madness, narcissism, whatever of the person who is actually needing the most mental health and social health related help, the others get completely exhausted who also need help and care. And if no one else sees that these three people, these kids and silent, need help, their life will continue to be rotten for a long time. And then they will be such exhausted and burnt out adults that I'll make a video on burnt out also. Burnt out, like silent is already showing signs of being burnt out, and that burnt out continues because he's never getting the resources and energy and care and love every human being deserves in their coexistence with their partners. And when you don't get that from your partner, you are absolutely in the wrong relationship. How much ever effort, best effort you will put forward in those relationships will never go in the right direction, in the right combination needed to hold a family unit together in the right way. So it's a tough choice, but sometimes life asks us to make the tough choices for the greater good, which most people who want to not break families don't understand. But you have to understand that sometimes some families need to break up if those families are exhausting their partners, depressing their partners, not just exhausting and depressing their partners in inadvertent ways, but some people do it in deliberate harming ways, because their mental capacity is such level that those people are were never meant to be parents, but they still chose the path of parenthood just because everyone else around them is choosing the path of parenthood. Such people are people who just need a dick. Like Amanda essentially just needs actually a dick husband who gives her crap, and she will give him crap, and they will have the best possible life. She doesn't want a good, kind, caretaking husband. She wants drama all the time. So for her to get drama all the time, that's why Silent is getting stressed out. But if Amanda seeks drama all the time, she needs to go to a partner who also seeks drama all the time, and they can have a glorious time fighting and messing up each other's lives. Does that make sense? So you need to choose the right partner for you. That's why, like, if you crave drama, find a partner who craves drama. And if you crave drama, you can't be responsible parents. If Silent craves and wants to be a responsible parent, then he needs to find a partner who wants to be a responsible parent, right? So that's why their relationship is in trouble. Same way with the other two, they have other problems. I will discuss in maybe some other video. And again, if you have any questions, please drop a comment. Thank you very much.